Yo, it's your boy KLUEWORLD, and I want to welcome you to Levels to This podcast. This is season 1, episode 4. And y'all, I got a treat for y'all. I got the smoothest man on the strings. I'm telling you, I call this man the lieutenant. I love this dude. We have been rocking with each other for, not a decade yet, but it's going to be a decade soon, man. I love this guy, his genuineness, just all that I've learned from him and his purity. He used to be really my next door neighbor, you know what I'm saying? But I miss this guy, and I just want to introduce y'all to my brother, my friend, Kerry Marshall. What's going on, bro?
Man. Yo, I'm glad to be here, man. Yo.
Man, I'm glad to have you, bro. This is my first time seeing this man in a long period of time, too. Just so y'all know, I ain't, unless it's Instagram, that's the only time I see my man.
Right,
you feel me? But
right, bro. Right. It's been crazy, man.
I used to be able to just go across the street and say, what's up?
I know, right? Or walking down the street, see each other walking down the street. Yeah.
Man, how you been, man?
Man, I've been good, man. I can't even complain, man. Life has been really good. There have been some challenges, you already know, with the pandemic and just life in general, but like resiliency is one of my strong points, man. Just bouncing back and coming even greater, man. So like life is good, bro. I can't complain. God is good.
Awesome, man. So I guess to give a backstory on this. So Kerry is one of the founding fathers of the Philosophers LA.
Right.
And as I interviewed LJ last time, when it comes to this, there's it's 5 of us, right? It's five founding fathers. Yeah. It's me, it's LJ, you, Bama, and Slim.
And Slim, yup.
And I can't wait to get those guys on here. Especially Bama.
Right.
It's gonna be crazy. I think I might have to do one with all of us on here, because
that would be dope, bro.
I'm gonna do that one.
You gotta do that.
But what's so crazy is I remember hearing about Kerry before I even got back to LA. I was on tour and I just heard that there's these cats from Alabama and they stanky out here for real. They're crazy. I'm like, all right, I gotta check these guys out. I get back and I'm just like, this man right here this man been through some things.
Right.
Man, but to say that, man, I've learned so much from you over the years, your stoicness, your work ethic, professionalism. I mean, like, and your playing is top tier. If you have not heard this man, okay? If you have not heard this man, get you some for sure. But I'm gonna start here with it, bro. Please let the people know what you do and where you from and stuff like that. Give us a little backdrop.
So originally, I'm a military brat. So I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I claimed Birmingham as home because I was there from 5th grade on throughout college. So, I claim that as home. But I've lived in Washington State as a kid. So Birmingham is always home for me. I currently am residing in Atlanta, Georgia. But a little bit of backstory and what I do. I've always had a passion for music ever since I was old enough and could remember 6. Started playing in church when I was about 10 or 11. Wasn't very good. I was the guy that would put on like Wednesday night and Friday nights, just to kind of fill the space. Would not play on Sunday. And just kind of kept at it, man. And honestly, when I joined the military straight out of high school, I got decent around 15, 16, and 17, kind of playing in quartet groups. But in the military, you get to meet so many different people from different backgrounds, right? And you learn different genres of music. So I got exposed to a lot of different ways of playing guitar, way of playing acoustic guitar, way to play like R&B, jazz. And so I just kind of built upon my quartet foundation. And then in 2013, me and the homies were just like, yo, let's go out west, man. If I really want to get it at the top level, I'm tired of there's nothing wrong with the Chitlin circuit. Wherever you are in your journey, everybody has a journey. But I got tired of playing on the Chitlin circuit and kind of just saying names and nobody would know who they were. So I was like, yo, I want to play for some household names, you know what I mean? So
right.
Went out west and just really the favor of God was really upon us, man, really upon me, man. And the unit that we work with, because got an opportunity to play for some of my favorite artists and work with some of my favorite musicians and build some lifelong friendships that are more than friendships, man. Like the Philosophers, bro, you guys became like brothers to me. You guys are still like brothers. So anytime, what's crazy, you talked about LJ was just here with The Weeknd maybe a month ago. And he was like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, you in town? I was like, yeah, bro. He's like, pull up. I had tickets. I had VIP tickets. I'm backstage. So it's just like, it's a brotherhood that we built, man. So
Yeah.
to know that like music was the catalyst that kind of connected us, but like the character and the development that we had amongst each other, man, has been like a real brotherhood. So, and I'm grateful, dude. Like seriously, man.
Absolutely, man. I'm grateful too, bro, because it's like I know that when I call you, you'll pick up, which is
Right.
rare. I don't call you, but if I did, you
Right.
gonna pick up or you gonna get back to me. I swear, like anytime I've ever called you, you picked up, even if you had just a quick second, like you had to get back and do something. It'd be
Right.
like, hey, bro, I'm doing this, but I'm gonna get back to you. And people don't understand. Picking up says a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in our
Picking up
industry. You already know.
and right, a lot of these cats, you be like, your phone be with you? I don't know.
Bro,
Never
I
mind. Don't even
swear,
worry
bro. I
about it.
swear.
Man, it's crazy, bro. But yeah, man. And what's also dope is me and Kerry got a great opportunity to actually play alongside each other, and that was the
Right.
dopest because I ain't gonna lie, that was a chitlin circuit, but it was I can't
Oh yeah.
say there was a show that was not fun.
Right.
I still think about the solo at Yoshi's in Oakland when we were playing and you walked across the stage and came back. Oh
That was
man.
crazy, man. It was a lot of fun though. I had a great time, dude. And
Indeed, indeed,
what's crazy
man.
about that Yoshi show? That was the first time my aunt has ever got a chance to see me play live. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
I had an aunt that lived in Richmond, so I was like, "Yo, come to the show." She came out, and I was like, "That was the first time she got a because she's always heard or seen stuff through social media, but never in
Right.
person. So that was the first time for her to get a chance to see me play live, which was great. So I'll
That
never forget that moment.
bro, it's the most beautiful thing is letting your people see you shine
Oh
further
yeah,
than the Instagrams and stuff like that. It's cool,
for sure.
Man, what's crazy is I want to say my grandparents were able to come and see us do that.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, that's
my
awesome.
parents had them pull up because luckily it was a show early enough because old people
Right.
go to sleep,
You already
but them
know.
7 to 9
Listen, you already know. You already
right
know.
across Oakland. But man, like, so we know you're a guitar player, but one thing that you left off, you're a producer as well,
Producer. Yep.
and you're a worldwide guitar instructor.
Yeah,
Tell
definitely,
us a
man.
little
What's
about that,
crazy?
man.
Oh, yeah, seriously, man. I appreciate that. So how it started was I started giving out Skype lessons and YouTube lessons like years ago, like maybe like 2009.
Mhm.
And with touring, if you're not in that circuit, tours come and go. Sometimes artists want to get new MDs or whatever. So I was working with this particular artist, and so they brought in a new MD. Most of the times when new MDs come in, even though the older band may be dope, they just want a fresh start. They want their people. So I didn't
Right.
have any affiliation to the new MD. So of course, the old unit got let go. And in that particular time, where you already have your mindset for a tour, you've already spent cash that you don't even have. So I'm just like, yo,
Right.
what am I gonna do? So one of my students wind up being my business partner, and proposed like this crazy plan. Was like, yo, I see you doing some other stuff for some other sites. Have you ever thought about doing your own thing? And my mindset moving to LA was I want to tour. Like that's what it is. Like because there's a shelf life to this. You may be the best, but there's a shelf life. So you got to get it in when you can get it in.
Preach about
And
it.
so they were like, well, listen, if you give me a year, you develop it. They showed me some numbers and some figures that you potentially make. And I was like, there's no way I can make that kind of money teaching. There's no way. They were like,
Right.
listen, what do you have to lose? If it doesn't work in a year, what do you have to lose? So I said, okay, cool. I locked in and started building this thing called Carrie's Camp. And when I say it has taken off to supersede anything that I could ever expect for it to be, it's a blessing, man. And so what it is essentially, we're teaching specifically three genres: R&B, neo soul, and gospel, because the guitar structures all over the place, but there's a certain sound that we have and a certain way, a method that we teach that people have just gravitated towards. So
Right.
we have something called Carrie's Camp, and we really right now I think we have 800 students worldwide. And the pandemic was a blessing in disguise, literally like a blessing in
Yes.
disguise. And we're continuing to expand. We're continuing to make the brand and the product even better by just listening to what the consumer says. But essentially, we're teaching people how to play. As I said all the time, we're giving people the sauce. I give you the sauce. You make whatever kind of plate that you want to make with it, whatever you use, whatever kind of ingredients. But now you have the format, you have the basis of it. So that's what we do, and I love it.
Man, that's so dope. What's crazy is I had a young fella of mine, a young mentee, and I remember it's funny how God sets things up that,
Right.
and I'm so thankful for his favor. Like, there's so many guys that I start to mentor, and they'll be like, "Oh man, I would love to get with this person. I would love to get with this person." I'll be like, "Yo, that's bro. I'll call him." And I
Right.
remember calling you and being like, "Yo, my young boy, he wants to get on guitar and stuff like that." You was like, "Yeah, man, for sure." And I was just like, "Wow, like." Here it is. I got somebody that I can really call, and that really
Yeah.
benefits people because let's be honest, a lot of people don't want to give the sauce away, but
Nah.
it's like the people that are winning are the mass producers, not
Of
the ones who
course.
keep the sauce for themselves.
Man, Clue, this is one
And
thing I learned, dude. Seriously. It's just like, you know how your mama got a recipe and
right,
she could give it to everybody that she knows. It's never gonna taste like mama's cooking. It
it's
may be
never gonna
good.
taste
It is ain't never gonna be the same. And so
it.
one of the things that I realized, man, I can give you the exact ingredients, but
Yeah,
interpretation is what makes us all unique. You know,
absolutely.
I can give the same your drumsticks. You can give your drumsticks to 12 drummers. Y'all could all get on and play the same song, and it will sound different. The song may be
Right,
the same, but the approach is different. And even if you say like, "Yo, I'm doing two on the hi hat, four on the floor," it's still gonna feel different. So one
correct.
of the
Yep.
things that I learned along this journey was the more that you give away, the more that you get back. And
Come
even
on.
in teaching other people how to play the song, like I was going over a couple songs I got to play tomorrow in DC, but like even teaching the song, like showed me like, oh wow, like I thought about it this way, but I'm learning some different stuff. Even as I teach, I'm learning some different stuff and opening
Wow.
myself up because I'm giving some of the stuff away. So it doesn't matter, like, and when you're not intimidated and when you're not insecure about what you got,
Right.
there's nothing like because there's enough for everybody. We all can
Come
eat.
on
You know what
now.
I mean?
It's bro, it's enough out here for everybody. I ain't
Yeah.
honestly, the more of us eating, that means I ain't gotta feed too many more other people.
Right.
I tell
Exactly.
people all the time, like I'm big on like wanting to see people win.
Of
I just
course.
told somebody this yesterday. I was like, check this out. I don't want to have to plus one nobody to the after party. I
No.
don't want I want to see you there and be like, man, I didn't know you was gonna be. Matter of fact, let me take that back. I knew you was gonna be here. I just didn't know when you was gonna show up. You feel
Exactly,
me?
for sure.
Like it's not even that. It's just like you got a lot of people who don't want to see their people win. And for me, it's like the more the more winners on your team is the more championships you get.
That's what bro. Listen, but the thing that comes with a certain level of security in your own ability, maturity, and knowing that like it's okay. Like I said, the maturity comes from when you want your people to win, bro.
Yep.
I promise you, thinking about the philosophers, I felt so dope to say like LJ was my big bro. Like I'm seeing him on stage. Like, yo, how did you get here, bro? My homie is playing. Like, you know what I mean? I remember a few years back, I went to, I believe it was the AMAs, and I saw LJ playing on stage, and it was like a commercial break, and I just yelled out, I said, "Yo, what up, LJ?" So mind you, everybody in the crowd was like, "Who is this dude talking to?" And he was like, "What up, Smooth?" That moment, that kind of seeing your homies
Fire.
win, you know what I mean? So that's what it's all about, bro. Like I'm always gonna cheerlead for my bros, like you know what I mean? Because if y'all winning, I just because I'm connected to y'all, I'm still
Come
winning. You
on
know,
now. Come
I'm
on.
still winning.
Bro, I tell people all the time, like I vicariously win through other people. When I
Right.
see y'all winning, that means that God is planning me around people that are growing, that are showing,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
it's friendly competition. You did that, well, watch what I do next.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We're pushing each other, bro. Like, come on,
That's
man.
how you push. That's
I
how
love
you
it, man.
push,
I love
bro.
it.
Well, one thing that I've never asked you is like, what are some of your
Mm,
influences? Like, what catered to your sound? Because when I heard you, I ain't gonna lie, I heard you, but I know that there's certain ingredients that were
right.
placed inside of you, and I've never asked you in depth, like, where did you get your sound from, or do you feel like
That's
you
a
got
great
your sound from?
question. That's a great question. So I would have to say for starters, because if anybody sees me play, me using the whammy bar, that's Jubu all day. He
Correct.
is for me is by far his approach and the way that he play, even his chord voicings. Like this dude is just like next to none for me.
Yes, right.
Um,
Yes.
So Jubu definitely has a lot of influence. If you go back and start to dissect my playing, you'll be like, yo, that's Jubu right there. I can hear that. But the next person for me is Walls, Eric Walls. I tell people all the
Woo.
time, like, if you look at Walls, it's like that high end, like you know what I'm saying, like high end brand. I'm like that great value. It may not have the right name on it, but it's just as effective. You know what I mean? So I tell you all the time, man, like Walls is like, for me, I stack him against anybody because I feel like he's just that Swiss Army knife. It doesn't matter if it's pop, doesn't matter if it's R&B, doesn't matter if it's gospel. He is literally like that guy. So Walls
He's
for
that.
sure.
Yeah.
Sean Hinton is another good guy for me. Tim Stewart, Mark Lettieri, Kevin Wilson, Spanky. I feel like those guys are the ones that I've gleaned so many different nuggets from and just added it to my plate. And I feel like I was just in the kitchen, like a pot of gumbo, just kind of stirring it up, tweaking certain things because I didn't want to sound like a carbon copy. I definitely wanted to have my own identity, but they gave me enough to be like, yo, add this, a little bit of that, add a little bit of this. Okay, tweak that so that way it doesn't sound identical, but it's enough to where it gives a character of like, okay, cool, he can sit in a lot of these different seats too.
Man, and what's crazy is you can hear all of those elements. And what was so dope about you when you got to LA, all the LA cats loved you, but you still had that Bama on you though.
Of course.
You still had it on you. And just so y'all know, he is a full-fledged in the blood Alabama football fan. So I'm surprised you ain't got nothing on.
You see that helmet, bro?
I know. I'm surprised you didn't have a shirt and a hat on. Like, listen, just so you know. Don't get it twisted.
Friday, yes, for sure. If it was Friday or Saturday, yes, you would have caught me at everything.
Man. Well, I guess I want to ask this because everybody's journey is different. Right. But what do you feel like has sustained you this long in the industry? Like what things did you feel like really helped you stay long? Because everybody's is different. Some's is desperation, some's is just being in somebody's pocket. Some's is just being cheap. What was your way?
For me, that maintained the longevity that I still have in the industry. Number one is you got to be dependable. Like, I think dependability is one of the number all assets that you want to have in being in the community and being in the industry. Two, just a good people person. Most of our gigs, like anybody can do our gigs. We already know that. 45 hour and a half, 2 hours on stage, anybody can do that. But who are you out when you're off the stage? That's the one thing that I glean from a lot of artists. Like you're off stage more time than you are on stage, and you spend more time. And if people just really don't like you, don't like hanging with you, people, I think a lot of times in our industry, especially guys that are trying to get in or that are just barely in, forget how important the hang is.
Yep.
You hanging out and being a good person off stage is more effective than just you're playing in your chops. So I would say number one, like dependability, the hang. You gotta have skill sets. So let's just say, and you got to be able to be versatile. There's been plenty of times I've been in sessions, I've been on stage or whatever, and they're just like, yo, can we flip the song a little bit? Can we add a little bit of this? And if you have enough in your bag, you're able to kind of showcase that and bring that to the forefront. So I would definitely say those are like three pinnacles. And then from there, you got to just use your eyes and ears, like listen and then learn, be willing to learn. Don't feel like you know everything in the sense of where nobody can tell you anything. Even if you think you already know it, they may have a different approach that's going to help you do it better. Or like my mom used to say all the time, man, pick the fish off the bone. You don't got to take all of it. Just take the stuff that you need and then you be straight. You know what I mean? So.
Yes, bro. Listen and learn is something that was a mantra I used to and still give my daughter today. When you go into school, you're going there to listen and to learn. But even as adults, you go into these rooms and these avenues and spaces to listen and to learn. And when you stop thinking when you start thinking you know everything is when you stop growing.
Setting yourself for failure. Exactly.
Bro,
especially in our industry, because it's the same, but it's still evolving. You know what
every
I mean?
day.
You got to be able to like listen and learn and evolve and then change with it. If you don't make adjustments, you can be left in the cold, bro.
And it's cold out there. It's cold for real. It's so cold. A lot of niggas have to go home. You hear what I'm saying?
Bro,
while hot.
With the quickness,
bro. I mean, for me, like, I love to see all that you've done, because when I seen you do the Kerry camp, I was like, wow, this is, first of all, this is something that a lot of people don't think of. You have people who have lockouts and will do, practicing with people and stuff like that, or they'll try to get into a school real quick. But you said, no, I can't reach everybody from these little spaces.
Nah,
and
man.
800 in.
Right.
You
And we're still
and this
growing.
was before COVID.
Right. And we're still growing. It's crazy.
Woo,
Yeah.
man, let me tell you. I mean, I
And
ain't gonna
just
lie.
trying to
There's
be
a few
like, I mean,
times.
like you were saying, like thinking about being in a brick and mortar, which, there's nothing against it. But, for me,
Mm,
living in LA, as you already know, before I moved, and even here, like brick and mortars are just confined spaces, which are great, but it limits you to the rest of the world. If you put it
mm-hmm.
on the internet, anybody can touch it at any time because you already know there's different time zones,
Yeah.
different countries, everybody's on a different level. Man, me living like across the street, my neighbors used to be like, bro, you gotta cut off at 10. Yeah, 10 to 10, bro. Like, so let's
10
just
to
say I got a
10.
I got a client in the UK and they're like, yo, bro, it's like, I'm ready to I'm like, but for me, it's past 10. I can't be in there trying to like teach something. So I was
Right.
missing money. I was like, I gotta figure out a way where I can create
Wow.
a space where people can go on at anytime that they want. They can watch it as many times as they want. So
Learn at their own
if,
pace.
it,
Yeah.
if it's on the internet, it lives there. And then what we would
It
do is
lives
like
there.
once a month, we do a live Q&A. So if anybody's got a question, they can all but make their schedules according to that. And even if you're not available, you can send your questions in ahead of time. We answer them and then we put them on the site. So they constantly live there. So you can go back and rewatch. That's the beauty of
Wow.
like things being on the internet versus just like if you do a lesson one time, let's say I
Yep.
forgot the lick that you showed me. I forgot the feel that you showed me. And you're like, well, I don't really remember what I showed you. Unlike us, it's all recorded. So you can go back and rewatch it, and be like, oh, okay, that's what he did.
Correct.
You could slow it down to be like, isolate the movements and be like, okay, cool, that's what he did. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's there's been plenty of times I wanted to pick up a guitar and just see where these lessons would lead me. But then again, I said, you know what? Sometimes being the smartest person in the class is knowing who to call to
Oh,
do it versus
definitely,
trying
for
to do it
sure.
all on your own.
For sure,
But
for sure.
I give big ups to all the homies that are out here like playing guitar and stuff like that, producing on guitar. Because
Right.
when I think of people like Q was not playing
Oh,
guitar when he first got to LA, but the boy can play guitar now.
right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's
Crazy
a monster
producer.
now. Yeah.
You got Buddha. He wasn't
Yeah.
first a guitar player, but
Right.
he's, I mean, you ask LJ, he'll say he can play guitar too. But he's just another guy. You know what I'm saying? He's different. But you got Freaky Rob, like
Yeah.
and then how those instruments transition into one another is
Right.
amazing. But man, to get down to some more in-depth things, I have a really good question for you is
Okay.
what's one of the most vital lessons you feel like you've learned in your career, whether it be as a not even whether. I want to know what because there's lessons that we learn as musicians, there's lessons as
Right.
we learn as producers, there's lessons as we learn just as people in trying to be in this industry in our own entity. Like what are
Right.
some of the what was the hardest lesson you had to learn?
I think the hardest lesson for me to learn initially was balance.
Mm,
I think because you're trying to do so much of one thing that you forget about everything else or you neglect certain aspects.
yeah.
Balance, I would say, is the biggest lesson that I learned when I first got into the industry after like I've been through a failed relationship in the industry and then going into a new relationship and learning how to make things work properly. It's about balance. Um,
Right.
I think, me talking to like, like guys like you having a podcast or just some of the homies, just, us talking shop and
Right.
realizing that like everybody's got, relationship or family stuff, or even work wise, you may have like 5 gigs, and you trying to juggle them all. How do you
Right.
balance it all? Right. And so
Yep.
that was one of the consensus things that like the constant things that I kept listening all the time was balance, balance, balance. So I would say my biggest lesson that I've learned and still learning, I'm not any kind of expert, but I have a better grasp on it, is
Hmm.
balance and
Yeah.
learning how to, if it's a work thing, how to sometimes involve your family. Like, yo, y'all come to the rehearsal or y'all watch me rehearse, like here at the house. Like, what do y'all think about this? How does it sound? Even though
Yeah.
you already know you've been locking in for hours that is right, but it's giving them the access to have so they don't feel like they're on, like, oh, he's all about his music and we're just kind of like second fiddle. It's just about
Right.
involving. Or if you got a lot of stuff on your plate, being honest with yourself, because I used to give
Hmm.
myself crazy anxiety, feeling like I got like 6 gigs this week, all different genres. I'm trying to remember whatever, and being like, you know what? Sometimes I gotta say no because I don't want
Right.
to. I don't want to give like a diminished version of the product that I can give you. I'm going to go out there and kill, but my mind is going to be all over the place, and I've got so much anxiety. So by the time I get to the gig, I'm like, oh my God, because you got so much work. Like, I got to get through this one, and then I got to catch this flight to go over here.
Oof.
Listen, you know what I mean? So I used to try to give myself like the balance of understanding. Sometimes I got to say no. Like this week, this particular month, I'm only going to do this many gigs. I got to figure out what makes the sense, you know, and that would help my own anxiety every day.
Bro, exactly. It's really it's the greatest performance of grace with yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Because man, like when you get here, you want to be part of everything. You got to feel like you got to be at everything, because if you miss something, it might be that big opportunity. And as time progresses, you're like, I've even learned how to say no to certain things, and it feels good. You know what I'm saying? I feel a little bossy about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because first of all, I'm not as desperate that I need everything. Right. Because there was a season, if you said no to something, that no may linger for a while. Right. But
and this is like one thing that I learned. I like what you said about seasons, because when I first got to LA, I'm in that season. You got to do everything. You can't say no.
Yep.
Because you're trying to get your feet wet. You're trying to get submerged into it. But there's like a place that you have to have that aha moment. Like, I'm not in that same season. But then too, I've learned that sometimes when you say no to certain things, it'll come back around to you in another way.
Yes, it will.
Because if you handle it a certain kind of way. And I used to feel like guilty, like, oh man, I said no. But it's the way that I said no. You know, you could say no a certain way and it'll still come back around to you. If it's meant for you, it'll come back around to you. You know what I mean? So,
yep. No, absolutely, bro. I mean, I'm in a season right now that I'm working with somebody. Every time they would ask me or tell me that they was ready for me to do something, I'd be like, nah, I can't do it. But I would say like, but don't think just because I can't do it right now don't mean I can't do it later. Just right now, I gotta focus on this, but I want to do it.
Right.
Please understand. Like, that's what I want to do.
You say no.
It's the way you say no. You might have to make a shirt with that one, Doc.
I'm telling you, man.
Woo, that's a word. It's the way you say no. Wow. Man, that's amazing, bro. And from that lesson, like, if there was something you could go, and mind you, it's not like regret, but if there was something you could go back over your journey and change or fix or have done better, what would that be?
Learning that lesson earlier on in life, so that way I wouldn't give myself anxiety.
We all say that.
Yeah, like learning first the art of saying no, but then how to say no. Those are the two. Because you can say no the wrong way, and people be like, all right, cool, and just close that door, and it's done. That bridge is burned. You know what I mean? And then you're trying to do everything you can to be like, to mend that.
I didn't mean that,
But there's a way of learning how to say no in such a way that you still leave the door open. People understand, no, he really wanted to do it, but like right now he's just not at capacity. He can't do it, but he wants to. So just in case it comes back around, hey man, I remember that time we spoke, man. Listen, are you available this time? You know what? Actually, I am. Let's jump in. Let's get it done. So it's about the way that you say no. You know what I mean?
It completely, because I literally had a homie hit me yesterday, and they were like, "Yo, you available to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And mind you, it was a person that I've never gotten a call from. Now, mind you, I called them a lot, but it's not to say they've never needed me, but they just know that I'm pretty much busy, but they didn't take my no as I can't call this person. It's just like, let me leave that space available. Exactly. And because sometimes now we do tell some people no, like no, and no, and no here, no now, and no later.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But man, like, yeah. And I feel like that takes professionalism. That's a level of professionalism and maturity, because many guys, and that's the unfortunate part as to why you have many guys saying yes, and then they can't fulfill the cost of the yes.
Right. That yes is going to cost you. It's a sacrifice.
Whew, bro, that I tell people all the time, bro, like there's times when I would be on the road with people and it caused me to stop complaining about what I do. Like you can't go out on the road with somebody and complain about what your yes is providing. Like that yes has the capability of being anything.
Right.
So if I say yes, I said yes to everything that comes after this yes.
Yep. For sure.
But also, understand for whom this yes is being given to.
Right.
Understand there's expectations that I have in this yes.
Of course.
Meaning there's a certain level that I need back. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
But the
Yep.
person giving the yes, you really you at the edge of the cliff, but you can't. It's just a bunch of fog down there. You don't know what's down there.
Right. You got to count up the cost, man. And that's a part, and that's one of the things that too with this industry, you don't always get all of the details. Sometimes you get bits and pieces of it, and you gotta make the quickest assessment and be like, okay, cool. I'm gonna just jump and pray that my parachute's gonna open.
Correct.
You know what I mean? But if it doesn't, I gotta have a contingency to make sure I don't kill myself. You know what I'm saying? So there's plenty of times, man. I've gotten calls, man. I'm pretty sure you've gotten calls where it's just like it's minimal information. It sounds good, but you ain't 100%. But you're like, you know what? I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna roll with it. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you got to call that. You got to pull that secondary parachute and just kind of get out. You know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, and it's usually what's crazy is the yeses is usually dependent on the person in the relationship and what they've shown you in character. Because you got some people they won't give you some information and you'd be like, look, bro, if I don't have this, and this in regards to you, Doc, I'm gonna have to give you a hard no. I'm gonna have to hard pass on that one.
Sure, definitely.
And it's no offense either. It's no offense, but it's really to understand like our yeses come with the price tag from us.
Of course.
And the consumer doesn't know what that yes may cost. So you have to be willing to know that sometimes everybody can't afford your yes.
And that's okay. And you have to be okay with the fact that because that's again going back to the point of you understanding your worth. And that's one of the things that I've learned in LA too. Your worth changes, you know, and when your worth changes or whatever, you got to realize that everybody can't afford your yes. And that's okay. Not to diminish yourself and not to be like you're so hungry and salivating for that work. It's okay. Because that level of respect will come back to you where somebody's like, nope, you know what? It's beneath them. I'm not going to waste their time.
Right. Indeed, bro. And with that, like, I want to ask you this question. Have you ever wanted to give up as long as you've been in this industry? And mind you, knowing you in your past, before the music, the military stuff, have you ever wanted to give up even in the season of what we go through as musicians? Have you ever had a moment where you're just like, I don't know?
Yeah, my first... since it's me and you don't want to be transparent. My second time working with Lettucey, I was subbing the first time I played for her in Vegas, and it was just like I was killing, but it's like she kept looking over her shoulder trying to figure out who I was. In DC, she got a chance to ask me, but I think I played something a little different from the guy that normally sat in that seat, and we haven't worked on like our dynamics and figuring out what it was. But the way like she came at me, it was like, yeah, I don't think this is for me, man. I'm about to be out. So I literally was just like, yo, I'm trying to figure out a flight, but it just nothing worked out. So it's just like, you know what, Kerry? Put your big boy draws on, lace your boots up, man. This is what you said you wanted. Like you can't. Now is not the time to be like you want out because it didn't go your way that you wanted to.
Right.
So I went back in there, worked and tweaked all the things that she was talking about, got it there, killed the gig, and she was like, "That's what I'm talking about." So I really had to put my ego in check to make sure I didn't like sabotage my future because I could have easily, bro, you already know, you get out there, you get in your feelings, you can sabotage and tear everything up. And next thing you know,
yes, you
never
can.
Working again. Or you want a circuit that you really don't want to be on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and stuck.
So yeah, so definitely for sure. I was met with that challenge early in my LA career. And I'd done things differently, you and I probably wouldn't even be having this conversation because you were at a level when I first met you. Like I would have never got a chance to even just have the conversation with you because I would have been blackballed and been like, nah, man, don't mess with that dude. You know what he did? He did X, Y, and Z because based upon how I would have handled that situation. So yeah, I definitely had to like sit there, put myself in timeout, shake myself, get my ego on the check, and like listen and be like, go work on these things that she said, come back to the gig and murder it. You know what I mean?
What could you share those things that she said?
I probably, honestly, I might have been overplaying if I think about it.
Okay.
If I really think about it, overplaying, and almost to the point like it was like a competition. And this is the one thing that I tell my students all the time. And when I tell this story, coming from Birmingham, a smaller market, thinking that you got to play at such a high level because of what you think LA is. versus just playing the music, right? And I'm like, man, it can't be that simple. You just can't be laying on these chords and that. You got to add a little extra. You got to give them everything. You got to give them all your work as if it was your solo. You're trying to do that the whole entire song.
Right.
And so she was like, I'm the singer, you're the guitarist, you got to support me. So I need you to like play in such a way that like your notes are not competing with me, as if like I do a run, you're trying to do a run. I do a riff, you're trying to do a riff. And so I had to learn that balance of I'm here to support. Like you already made it to the stage. You already are that guy. You don't have to do anything else on stage unless it's your time to be like, hey, Smooth, take it and go kill it. But you're already on stage, so you've already accomplished what you want to accomplish. So like be cool with just playing that particular part. And when it's time for you to step out, give them that work, and when you finish, step back in the pocket. Just be back in the pocket. You know what I mean? So that was the thing for me.
So what would you say to someone who wants to get on the level that you're currently on? Like, what will be some words that you would share with somebody?
You got to have faith, but you got to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're setting yourself up for a long road or exactly failure. So have faith in your ability. Also listen to the people and ask questions in a sense of, but find the space as a safe space to ask questions. Every space is not a safe space to ask questions. So have faith, have a plan, ask questions, but in a safe space, and be willing to make the mistakes and learn from the mistakes. Because if you don't try, you're not going to learn. I mean, we're all going to make mistakes in some capacity. You want to try to minimize how big the mistake is, but you're going to make a mistake because you're learning something and doing something that you have no idea what it is. So when you ask those questions and you get those answers, like use the information that you're getting and apply it. Don't think that like, oh, I'm just asking the question to try to like get to talk to the OG. Like apply the information that you're getting and use it in order to make yourself successful.
No, absolutely, man. What's crazy to me is, and the reason why levels to this podcast exists is I wanted to ask the questions that I feel like many are afraid to ask. Many who feel like, oh, I don't know if they're going to answer me. I don't hit them on Instagram because they probably get asked all these questions all the time. Or maybe the worst thing, the question might sound stupid. No, the stupidest question is the question that's not asked.
Exactly.
We're all people. Like it wasn't like today was the first day of mankind and we just dropped down into these lives. Like we wish that, but even if we did, a lot of us would be like, God, this is what you gave me? No, absolutely. I'm blessed. I'm super blessed. But in that, like, how important do you feel relationships are in the industry, like in learning?
Super, man. Think about it now. Like you and I got connected because first of all, we started out as neighbors and then like met up like doing music, and then we formed a brotherhood and decided to form a band. There's been plenty of times like you said, you can pick up your phone and be like, yo, I got a young bull that wants to learn how to do whatever. That's relationship. There's been plenty of times that you've probably gotten gigs. I've gotten gigs based off of relationship. Hey man, matter of fact, when I moved here to Atlanta, Thaddeus Dixon called me and was like, yo, man, I need you to do like Jimmy Kimmel. Can you make it? That's off a relationship. Had we not worked together in the past, LA's got a wealth of dope guitarists, but like relationship was like, no, I want my guy Kerry. That's my homie. I'm gonna bring him in so we can do whatever. So relationship is extremely important in the industry. If you have good relationships with depth to it, you'll be straight. That you can't forsake that. So you got to have good relationships.
Absolutely. I mean, relationship for me, craziest thing is relationship for me is what has allowed my career to exist since 2011. And most of the opportunities that I've gotten, I didn't have to audition for. I've literally auditioned for one gig that blessed me to continue to sustain through my career. One relationship that gained another relationship that let somebody else see me, that gained another relationship, that I met friends who said, oh, you're good at this, I want to bring you onto this. Like it takes one moment to be the catalyst for everything else that we do.
It's very true, man. It's very true,
man. Bro. And it's remarkable, bro. Like it's so amazing. That I'm trying to figure out, how did you even get the Shantae gig? It wasn't through me, or was it? It wasn't through me.
I think it might have been because I think you called me.
I
I
feel
think
like I
because
did call
yeah, I
you.
feel like you called me. You're like, yo, what do you have going on this time? But again, relationship. There's no way I would have gotten
Right.
that. That's what I'm saying. So yeah.
Man, and she loved you. I mean, mind you, she loved Jinju too, but
Of course.
she loved you. I mean, you brought such a energy, and I mean, we have so many funny stories because
Right.
so we used to do this. I had to say it, but we used to do this show called First Fridays in
Of course.
in the Valley.
Right.
Kelvin Truitt, I'm gonna have him on here one time.
That's what's up.
And I remember we were the house band, and I mean, shoot, we came up with so many great renditions of
Right.
things. And I remember the day that the great Tony Price, with
Oh
his
my
very
God.
unique
Yeah.
characteristics, said something crazy to you, and you looked at that man, and everybody who knew your background was just like,
Right.
Tony's playing
He's
with
about
death
to
right
die.
now. You had the coldest look at that man. I don't even remember what the joke was, but I
I
was just
remember.
like, I'll never joke with
Right.
Kerry
Right.
ever again
Crazy.
like that.
Crazy.
Bro,
Yeah.
it's funny, but whew, that was a night, dog.
That
It
was
was
a
hot in
night.
there.
That was a night. That was a crazy night.
Bro, but moving on and staying just on course, man. Like, what is one of the what is something that you feel like is unrecognized, or like something that we don't pay much attention to that we need to pay attention to in the industry as musicians, producers, just the music industry at large? What is something that you feel like is not it's not being paid attention to, or
Mm.
recognized as very important, but needs a bit more depth or importance brought to it?
I would say relationships again. A lot of times people are just like it's almost like a
Big
leech. People are
time.
trying to use a situation to move, whatever. But I feel like relationships are just as important. If we understand the authenticity, everybody ain't gonna be your best friend. That's one of the things. Let me go and make
Yep.
that disclaimer. Don't look for your best friend in everybody, but you want to maintain a level of decorum and good relationships so that way, if things come back around, you know what I'm saying? Or if you see somebody out, it'll be like, oh, your word or your name is good, versus it's like, nah, we don't F with that person no more, man. Like he's trash. So you want to keep it in such a way that
Correct.
you can still speak and be highly spoken of when you're not even in a room. You know what I mean?
Bro, your name is everything in
Of
this
course.
industry.
Of course.
I I remember when what was that? Shoot, I can't remember the name of it. What was that chat room that came out during
Oh, you
COVID?
talking about
Uh
Clubhouse.
Something house.
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember being in Clubhouse, man, and there was a bunch of like higher up producers, managers, tour managers and stuff like that. And I remember my mentor sent me to the room, and I mean, these guys are like the guys talking,
Right.
and my mentor ended up leaving the room. He left the room, and you literally had somebody else bring him up in the room that he
Wow.
wasn't in, and he was like, yo, he's the reason why I got Snoop Dogg, he's the reason why I did this. And you just heard people just continue to say all the opportunities they got based off of this guy that's no longer in the room. And I
Right.
said, wow, that's the effect I want to have on people,
Right. Of
that
course.
even if I leave a room, my name still rings loudly,
Right.
positively.
Positively. Yeah.
And people, that part, because some people have different experiences and stuff like
Of
that.
course.
But what's crazy is, even if somebody may have a negative experience and you know that you meant it positively, those who speak positive of you will defend you and say,
Right.
nah, that's not what that person meant, that's not what that
Exactly.
person was doing, this is how you took it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm greatly appreciative of our relationship,
Oh,
because
for sure.
now I'm able to sit here and look at your journey of
Right.
where you were when I first met you to where you
Right.
are today. And I'm just
Right.
like, every time I see you somewhere, I'm
Right.
like, every time I see him winning, we win it.
Exactly.
We
I feel the
winning.
same way, bro. I feel the same exact way about you, bro. Seriously.
Man, well, I greatly appreciate you taking this time to rock
Oh
with me,
man,
talk with
definitely, man.
me, man. Like, please let the people know what you have coming up next, where they can see you, where they can find you, and more about your camp for those who want to like really learn how to play guitar and get this access.
Cool. Like, so if you really want to learn how to play guitar, go to kerryscamp.com. That is KERRYSKAMP.com. You can try it out. So it's one of those things where you get a chance to kind of see if it fits what you know, the way that you learn or whatever. Try it out. We have so much content. We're constantly adding content. We've had special guests on. Some of your favorite guitar players, I've interviewed them and asked them questions to really get the insight, and those nuggets are there. So those videos are in a catalog. So you can go through the list and be like, yo, I want to hear when J-Mo was talking about this, or I want to hear when Sean Hinton said this, or we had Eric Walls on. We've had a lot of the industry's best, because it's, again, we talk about relationships. So Kerry's Camp is a wealth of knowledge, man, that you can definitely check out. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram. It's KERRY2SMOOTH, KERRY, the number 2 SMOOTH. And it's the same on YouTube. I try to keep everything the same, so that way you don't have to like work too hard to look and try to find me. Also, too, I'm going to be doing like a bunch of different dates or whatever. So if you want to follow social media, I'm always posting constantly. I'm headed to DC tomorrow. So if anybody's in the DC area, you'll see me tomorrow hanging out. I've got 2 different gigs. I'm playing with Major tomorrow. And then there's just like this huge reggae artist, Grant Morgan, that's doing something for Live Nation. So you will see me with my guitars on my
plethora.
back walking through. Yes, I got to take 2. But yeah, just we're constantly working, and we're constantly doing some new things or whatever. So yeah, man, I'm easy to reach, and if you want to hit me up in the DMs, I'll answer your questions or just chat or whatever the case is. Wow. I'm an open book.
Well, man, first of all and last of all, I want to give you your flowers. I thank you for being an amazing person. You've always been the same. You've always carried the same genuineness. You've always carried the same stoicness, the same professionalism, and you've always been an open book. You know what I'm saying? You've never you never walked in. We all walk in kind of like a little skeptic, but you've never stopped it from allowing you to still allow people to get to know great elements of you. And I really appreciate you for taking the step forward to say, I got a gift, I got the sauce, but it's not necessarily for me to just have it and hold on to it, but to share it with the world. And I don't know if anybody said thank you recently, but thank you, bro. Thank you for that. Because some of the people that I may call will say, oh, when I asked them, like, man, where did all this come from? Oh man, I was under Kerry's camps, man, and you was under Kerry's camp. I'm about to FaceTime Kerry right now. Kerry, look what you did.
Right.
Look what you done did.
Right, man. Right.
Man. Well, I love you so much, man. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to hit the stage with you again, because I know God is gonna make it happen, man.
I know, dude. I'm looking forward to that.
It's gonna be a wondrous day
too, bro. Like, seriously, man. I appreciate you everything. Even taking the time out from a kid from Alabama, man, and just being like giving us a platform and working with us, and just being able to show us like, yo, do it this way, don't do it that way. You know, bro, you gave me so much insight, man, that I can never like repay you for, man. That's why I said, like, brothers for life. We built something, and like the genuineness that we have, the authenticity. You're more than just a friend, man. I look at you as a legit brother. That's why anytime you call, I'm answering the phone. You know what I mean? So, like, bro, keep doing what you do. I'm proud of you, man. Like, the strides that you've made, just to see you play, see all the platforms and all the artists that you work with, the magnitude. Don't let the quietness fool you. This dude is an assassin on the drums, bro. Like, this man is an assassin on the drums, bro. I love it, man. So keep doing your thing, bro, man. Keep sharing this love, and I'm glad that you got this platform. It's gonna touch so many lives, man. So this is just the beginning, bro. Like, it's gonna get even crazy, man. So just fasten up, get ready for it, man.
Man, you already know, y'all. This is Levels to This podcast. We had Kerry, this too smooth Marshall, and I appreciate him so much. And I thank y'all for being here. And just to let you know, if nobody told you they love you today, from the genuineness of my heart, I love you. I appreciate you for listening and hanging with us today. And we're gonna see y'all soon. Y'all be good.